Hi, welcome to Gemini Star Spiritual Wellness. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited that you're here with me for this video. So, today we're doing our mid month check in of energy for September 2025. So, this is a collective reading and it's going to cover September 15th through the 30th. So, let's go ahead and see what we got going on for the collective for the rest of the second half of September, the rest of September. It's hard to believe it's halfway through the month already. It's going fast. And I knew that September was going to be intense with the energies from what I was seeing in the cards and just feeling myself personally. And so far, that has been the case. So let's see what's going on for the collective. And this is a general collective reading, so it might resonate with you and it might not. And take what resonates and leave behind what doesn't. And as always, please hit the like button so that other people will see this video and get the information that they need to hear. And please subscribe so that you'll get future videos I put out. And for all those that are new to the channel, welcome. And to all my subscribers, thank you for joining the channel. And I'm going to be probably in next week, I'm going to be adding the element readings on a weekly basis as well. So I will be adding those to the current schedule of readings that I do. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. Oh, and I also want to point out that if you're new to the channel, and even if you've been a subscriber, take a moment to look through some of the playlists and the past videos I've done. Because when I first started the channel in January, I focused a lot on just spiritual information and experiences I've had as a psychic medium. And so that's all in there. If you look back through the videos, you'll see it. And it might be something of interest to you that you might want to watch. I've got like some different playlists like the Hermetic Principles and the Chakra Information series and things like that that you can go through and watch at at your leisure. So my goal with this channel was to get information out, spiritual information, and then I added the readings later on, but that's another part I wanted to do was to add the current energy of the readings as well as the spiritual information. So let's see what's going on. The cards are kind of jumping out of my hands, so that means it's going to be intense energy still month of September. And I have to apologize. I've got some kind of weird, I don't know if you can see a line of sunshine coming down from my face. And it's just the way the sun's coming in that big window behind me, and it just makes it look like there's a line on my face. Very strange. So there's really not a line on my face. It's just the sunlight. All right, let's see what we got going on here. All right. Mid-month check-in for the collective. What is going to be the energy for the collective for September 15th through 30th, 2025? All right. So we got the King of Cups, we got Death. Ooh, we've got the Two of Pentacles, the World card, okay. Queen of Swords, Five of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. Okay, we got a lot of big cards in here. So and this could pertain to you personally. It could resonate with you on a personal level, but my intention is for the whole collective globally, but it could, resonate with you on a personal level too. So everyone's going to be different with that. All right. So coming into the middle of the month of September, the collective is kind of an in between time. So there's a major shift of energy going on that's propelling us forward down, I want to say the 5D path, but down the higher vibrational path. But I feel like, that's going on. But right now we're kind of in this transition period where we're kind of, still kind of juggling the 3D world, so to speak, or the physical world and then the spiritual. So what I feel is like a lot of people in the collective could be having more spiritual experiences of their own, like maybe really intense dreams or visions or things of that nature. Seeing repeating numbers, um, like coincidences that, synchronicities, I guess, things like that could be happening as we're transitioning. And I feel like more and more people are waking up on a global level. When I say waking up, I mean spiritually awakening. And so it's kind of like they're kind of, getting more experience into the 5D or the spiritual realms. but they're also, having to deal with the old, with the 3D. And I know I feel that way too. I sometimes have a hard time staying grounded in the physical because my mind is so much spiritual. And so sometimes it's hard for me to kind of stay grounded in the physical world. And so it's kind of a balancing act. And I feel like that's what the collective is going through right now. It's kind of like this in between, as we got these timelines splitting, and then we've got these changes coming in to push us into the higher vibration reality. And it's kind of like we're juggling between the two. And it could be too, like, I'm hearing a lot of information coming out in September that people are going to have to start making a choice. Like, what timeline do they want to be in? Do they want to be in the lower vibrational timeline, or the higher vibrational timeline? And I feel like the information coming out, it's going to kind of, like, if they were very much in the 3D world or physical world with their mindset, this information coming out, and maybe like the increase of spiritual activity in their life or experiences might, start to get them out of that. Like, it's starting to wobble them in between those two worlds, so to speak, and getting them out of that lower vibrational timeline. So that could be what's going on too, because I feel like a lot of information is going to come out, not just September, but October, November, December, to the end of the year. And it's going to really kind of jolt a lot of people awake, and kind of, as they process the information and integrate it, it's going to help to rise them up and help to wake them up into a higher vibrational timelines. But I feel like right now we're in that in between, kind of juggling those two worlds. So that's where we are as a collective coming into the middle of the month of September. So the current energy, as a collective, and I saw this too. I can't remember. I think it was when I did the beginning of the month reading for September. But as a collective, we are very much opening up our heart center. So we're working on our unconditional love. Our heart chakras are opening. And I feel like part of that's just naturally happening because of the energy coming in. It's rising us up in vibration and causing our heart chakras to open. And then we're working on it. So I feel like as a collective, we're more and more of us are in this King of Cups energy where, we're confident, we know what we want, but we're working with our heart center, we're working with our heart chakra, we're learning about what unconditional love is, because most people on the planet probably don't fully understand what that is, or, have experienced it. So we're learning that. And then we're also, like, the King of Cups, he's not afraid of his emotions. He's got his little cup there in his hand, and he's not afraid of his emotions. Like, he acknowledges his emotions, he works through his emotions. And I feel like that's what we're doing, is we're working through our emotions and acknowledging our emotions, because a lot of times in society, we've been taught or programmed to kind of not acknowledge our emotions and to stuff everything down. But that's not going to be the case anymore. We're starting to figure out that that's not healthy and not a good way for us to be, that we need to acknowledge our emotions, and we need to, acknowledge them and work through them. And having emotions is nothing bad. It's nothing bad. And part of that, and this is what I'm hearing, divine feminine. So part of that is the divine feminine energy is rising. So for thousands of years, our planet has been mostly controlled by masculine energy, and not divine masculine energy, but distorted masculine energy. But that's shifting. So now, the feminine energy, the divine feminine energy, is becoming more and more powerful in the collective, and basically rising up. And so that's allowing us to, connect more into that nurturing part of ourselves, into that emotional part of ourselves, being understanding that emotions are good, and connecting into our heart chakra, and into that part of ourselves. So that's happening more with the rise of the divine feminine energy. So I also see we are still going through that transition period of endings and new beginnings. And I do like this card because if you look in the back, you see over here, you see the little sun and the little path. So even though it looks kind of scary because it says death and what's, the guy on the horse, but if you look over here, it's like there's a path to a new beginning or a happy new beginning with that sunrise coming up. So I feel like that is, as a collective, we're in that transition period, which kind of goes to what I was talking about earlier with this card, with us kind of being in an in-between period, and kind of juggling between the two timelines and the two different worlds. But I feel like, we're still in that transition period. And I feel like this transition is going to last a while. It's not like going to be just for the month of September. So we're talking, probably the rest of this year going into next year. It might take a couple years to fully go through this transition. But the collective is going through this transition. So we're letting go of the old world. We're letting go of the old way of doing things, and on a personal level, it could be, things that you're not in alignment with anymore, like jobs or relationships or just belief systems, how you handled, things in the past, like talking about emotions and right, just changing the way we are and how we believe and think. We're ending the old way, because the old systems on the planet are ending because they are low vibrational. So we are getting into the higher vibrational realms. And so we need to shift into a higher type of thinking, higher vibrational thinking. And that's what that new beginning is coming in. So we're letting go of the old stuff that's low vibrational, no longer is alignment with us, and we're welcoming them in the new beginning. But we're in a transition state while we're doing that right now. And the atmosphere is it's a gateway phase period for the whole world. So I'm seeing the whole world, and there's all these people in the world, and we're shifting, and I can see like the earth is getting brighter. Like it was kind of, I don't want to say dark and dingy, but it wasn't as bright. And then what I saw was like it getting brighter and brighter. So it's kind of like we're going through this transition and we're going through a gateway. The atmosphere is gateway, and we're going through a new phase. And I feel like the collective is, what I'm hearing is, they're going to feel the energy of this. So you're going to feel the energy of going into this new higher vibrational phase. You're going to feel it energetically, and you're going to see it in your life by how things manifest and come to pass. So, the more and more people of the collective globally are going to feel this shift as we go start this new phase. In the near future, and so this reading's for the middle of September, so it could be, during this 2 weeks, but it might be into October. But we've got the Queen of Swords here as our near future card, and you can see that, the Queen of we I think this card came out, I want to say, in the monthly reading for the beginning of September. I can't remember. I can say I can't, like, I'll do a reading and then I forget a lot of what I said and have to go back and watch the reading again, be like, "Oh, yeah, but some of it I do remember, but, you can see she's got her sword up, and I feel like in a near future, information is gonna come towards us, so, like, truth is gonna come out, and it's gonna, I wanna say, make us feel defensive, but it's gonna make us stand with our sword up. Some of this information is gonna come out. And it's, truth is going to come out that has been hidden from humanity. Things that has been kept from us or that we didn't know is going to start coming out. And that's part of this transitional gateway phase process we're going through, because we need to know this information in order to move into and going into the 5D earth. We need to know this stuff. So truth is going to come out. And, the Queen of Swords is pretty intense. She doesn't, she's a queen, and she has queen, like, she's confident, and she, can be loving and stuff, but she's also very kind of blunt, to the point, doesn't put up with any stuff, right? She's not going to put up with stuff. So I feel like as a collective, we're not putting up with stuff anymore. We want the truth, and we're going to get the truth coming in and information coming towards us that's going to be blunt and to the point, but we need to have it delivered that way. Like, it's part of the plan for us to hear it that way. And it's going to make us kind of in that Queen of Swords energy where I don't want to say, how can I say it? We're kind of like standing up for ourselves, and processing the information, but we're not putting up with any stuff, is what I'm trying to say. Um, and then the advice from the universe that I'm getting is we're coming out of this. So this is a lot of where the collective was. So it's kind of like for centuries, um, systems have been set up to keep us in a lower vibrational energy, to keep us in a lower place. And so, a lot of, depression, anxiety can come from that. And you notice how he's looking at the cups that are spilled over here on the side, right here, but he's not looking at the ones over here that are, sitting up and upright. So there's a great sense of loss and sadness going on with this card, and I feel loss and sadness for the collective around some of these changes, because you have to realize that a lot of our belief systems and organizational systems and things that we have known our whole life is now going to be turned on its head, and that's going to be very hard for some people to handle. So there's going to be a sense of like loss and sadness of letting that go, but it's also a mindset change. So the collective, we've always been in this kind of sense of lack, is what I'm hearing, like mindset of lack, like, looking at what we don't have instead of what we do have. But what's going to change is our mindset's going to change, and we're going to start looking more at what we do have, and that's going to open us up. So I feel like we are going to have a lot of abundance coming in as a collective globally, but we're going to have to end that mindset of lack, and let go of feeling like, oh, that's never going to happen for me, and like that's never going to happen, or just having a mindset of lack, that nothing can be accomplished or you can't be abundant or things like that. So we have to let go of that, because that's that old vibrational mindset. And we have to look at the future with a more positive light. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this is another card of advice. So we've got the Ace of Cups. So we've got a new beginning coming in. And it could be on a personal level, like a new beginning in love coming in, or, a new beginning. It could be not just love, but it could be a new beginning in like doing a hobby or a job that you love, something like that. It could be that way as well. But what I'm really feeling is this is more of a collective card of what I feel in this reading is it means more collectively as a new beginning in loving of ourselves, in understanding our heart chakra and unconditional love, and a new beginning of love for others around the world. So kind of not like just loving ourselves, like getting stronger about that, but also getting stronger about loving our neighbors and our communities, and opening our heart chakra. And so it's kind of going to be a new beginning of love around the planet. And because of that shift of a new beginning of love, we're going to be able to get out of this sadness, loss. So yes, it might be kind of sad, and sense of loss and regret for like maybe like old belief systems or old systems, organizational systems that we're accustomed to and know. And it might be quite a sad, it might be sad to let that go in some way. But we have to hold strong, because what's coming in is going to be so much better than what we had in the past. So we need to stop having a sense of lack, and looking at focusing on those, cups that are full, that are empty, and focus on what we do have. And then, because a lot more is going to come in for us, we're going to become a lot more abundant, not just like abundance in material things or like that, but also abundance in love. So it's like, I'm seeing the heart again, but I'm seeing, like it's growing, and it's covering the whole planet. So it's kind of like, people are going to start to understand more what unconditional love is, and their heart's center, and working with their emotions, and realizing that unconditional love is the most important thing. And that's what we need to have towards ourselves, but towards each other as well. And that's what the divine has for us, is unconditional love. And, of course, he's the one orchestrating all this, the plan and the transition and the gateways, and everything is happening for the betterment of humanity and for, of course, he has unconditional love for us as well. So that's what I see for the second half of September for the collective. So that's really I don't know, I feel like this is a very uplifting reading where it's kind of, it's yes, we're in this transition period, but what's coming in is going to be much more like prosperous, but also much more higher vibrational. And I do like the idea of this because I feel like just so many people on the planet don't truly love themselves, and have, trauma experiences around that. And, they're dealing with a lot of trauma with that. And so they have a hard time loving themselves or, acknowledging their emotions and allowing themselves to feel their emotions. And so it's exciting to me to see as a global collective that we can get out of that and heal ourselves and learn to love ourselves, but also let that love spill out into other people, whether it's our family, our communities, the world in general, just people in general, kind of looking out for each other and loving each other. And, all coming together as humanity in a big sense of, with those heart chakras opening in a big sense of unconditional love. So that's exciting to me because I feel like a lot of healing is going to go on through this, healing within ourselves, but also being able to heal in how we treat and look at others and how we interact with others and let that love spill out to others in the world. So, yeah, really good reading. So intense reading, but I feel like intense in a very loving way. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.